Welcome to the course EPEL 8930, Leadership, Administration, and Management, Applying Theories and Developing Theoretical Frameworks. In this video, I'll have a walkthrough of our Canvas course site. Once you accept my Canvas invite, you will see the homepage, which is also the landing page. On the top of the homepage, I have course overview. This course is designed to guide you in the process of developing theoretical framework for your dissertation research. Instead of using traditional textbooks, which could be very expensive and typically outdated, in this course, I have a collection of instructional materials, including the selected reading and the instructional videos I posted on YouTube. I want to emphasize that in this course, it's very important that you shift your mindset from being an instructor or educator to the mindset of a leader. That means you're not thinking about pedagogical issues. For example, how to teach certain subjects better. You should think about how you can motivate a team to achieve a common goal, which is the definition of leadership. And the leadership mindset also means that you need to think at multiple levels. For example, at the level of the individual leaders, what these individual leaders did to make the difference or the lack thereof, and the dyadic relationship between the leader and members, and the collective team dynamics. And then you also need to think about organizational norms, structures, and environments. It is leaders' role to create organizational environment to motivate people to work for the common goal. We'll discuss this more in our class, but the focus is that we want to prepare you to be a better leader, not a better educator or instructor. So think from the leader's perspective and the leadership process, not just at the classroom level and not just your immediate work environment, because it's not likely you're going to work in the same department for the rest of your career. All right, let's move on. The expected time commitment. This is a 3-credit graduate level course, so you are expected to spend 9 hours per week on this course. If you take 2 courses, that means you need to spend about 18 hours on the coursework. That's a part-time. I wrote here the quantity and depth of the time you invested directly shape the quality of your thought. I can tell whether you put in effort or not through how you talk and the questions you ask and the vocabulary you use in the class. So expect to invest in 9 hours each week in this course. Do not expect that you're going to develop your theoretical framework in the first couple of weeks. Wait till the second half of the semester. You're going to learn the different components of a theoretical framework. And then starting in the second semester, you will start assemble different components into a theoretical framework. But you will not have a fully developed theoretical framework at the end of the semester. So do not rush the process. In the past, we had a student coming to me with their theoretical framework in the first 3 weeks. That's not the right way to do it. And you will not have your fully developed theoretical framework at the end of the semester. And even after this semester, as you continue to take your research methods courses and as you read more literature, you'll probably continue to define and refine your theoretical framework. And that's the process of research. So don't rush this process. The next point is using AI. I built a GPT, which you can access through this link called Dissertation Buddy. This tool is developed for my doctoral students to help them clarify and scaffold as they go through dissertation process. It can provide you our program's specific process, for example, your required courses and the timeline for your comprehensive exam prospectus and dissertation, and other procedural issues in your student handbook. But I do not want you to use AI to summarize the readings for you. Reading and writing is part of the process of thinking. When you use AI to summarize articles, AI has that information, but you bypass the process of thinking. the process of struggle, grappling difficult issues is also part of the process of learning. So take the slow process of reading the articles because that is your learning. AI can spew out a lot of words, but they're not yours. And you need to process that information on your own. So here I also wrote about writing. The writing itself, which is difficult, slow, reflective work of understanding theories, thinking critically, building your argument. And this writing process is part of the process of learning. So do not skip it and do not fake it. Otherwise, you're cheating yourself. I know those content. You don't need to submit AI-generated text because I already know the content, but I want you to know the content. So the reading and the writing process are very important for your thinking. All right, moving on to the course modules. We have 14 weeks and each week will cover a course module. And each week's dates are noted here. If we have class meeting, I also noted in that specific week. We have 4 class meetings. Each week, to access the module materials, click the arrow and click this link. Start here, module 1, overview. And in each course module, I have the topic that will be covered that week. This is module 1. I also added course foundation. You can click here to access the course syllabus. You can also use the tab on the left to download the course syllabus. This is the Canvas course site walkthrough, which is the video I'm recording right now. So when you see the course, this video is already up. Each week we have instructional materials. We have instructional videos. In week 1, we'll talk about what is a theory, and then you will learn 3 theories or constructs in leadership. For each instructional video, I provide a practice quiz. If you open this link, it will guide you to a practice quiz. This quiz is hosted on my own website. To use the practice quiz, you start quiz and click your answer, and then you'll see the correct answer and my comment. You can also reset the quiz. In each practice quiz, I have multiple choice questions and I also have application questions for your research. Use those practice quizzes to evaluate your understanding. I have a practice quiz for every single instructional video. Each week, you are required to read a journal article, which is listed here. Required reading, follow this link, and it will guide you to the journal article, and then you'll log into our GSU library digital portal and download the article for your reading. In the reading, you are expected to make notes whether you read a digital copy or read a printed out copy. For example, this is the article I'm reading right now. Look at my notes. I have my writing, I have the highlights, and I expect to see the annotations and the highlights. So in the class, bring the digital copy or the hard copy of the article because we will be using those articles in our class meetings, and I want to see your annotations and the highlights. All right, moving on. In each week, I also provide you with a lot of recommended readings. The reason I call them recommended readings is because if you are interested in the theory or the construct that we are learning in that week, those are the articles that you can use to dig deeper. If one of the constructs end up in your theoretical framework, I expect you to read those articles. But due to the very limited time we have in this course, I can't require you to read every single article, so I put those articles in the recommended reading category. Scroll down. At the bottom of each module is the activity of assignment. Each week you are required to complete a quiz, which is based on the instructional videos and the required reading. The due dates are also noted. So it should be very straightforward for this course. I also want to talk about the exam we have in this course. At the end of our class meeting, you will have a closed book exam. It's a paper and pen exam. So you won't be able to use the AI to generate the text for me to read. I want the answers that are coming out of you. What are the exam questions? Part of them come from the practice quizzes in each module. So no surprise to you. And part of the exam questions come from our classroom activities, because in this course we cover a lot of content and a lot of theories. You can't crash for the exam at the last minute. So remember, each week you're expected to invest in 9 hours in this coursework. So follow this process. And sometimes reading is just the first step. The application questions in each of the practice quizzes can probably spark more thoughts. And you're recommended to take notes in your notebook, whether it's the old school one or the digital one. So take notes, record your thought and your reflections as you go through application questions in practice quizzes. Other essential sources. Those are the essential sources that I do not have much time to cover in this course, because some of the content is about research methods, and hopefully these resources will guide you in your dissertation process. If you follow the link, it should guide you to my website, and this is the not-to-do list for doctoral students. One more thing about office hours. You are welcome to attend my office hours. My expectations for office hours are listed here. The office hour is not for me to complete assignment for you. So you can't come to office hour to ask me to develop a theoretical framework for your research. And that should be your effort. So here, the office hours are not a substitute for course readings, lectures, or assignment. Instead, office hours are intended for clarifying difficult conceptual distinctions after you have made your own attempts to make sense of them. And in office hours, you can also get feedback on the diagrams, the draft, the framework you've already developed. But you can't come to me and ask me to develop a theoretical framework for you. I provide the feedback, but I can't do the assignment for you. So before you come to the office hour, you are expected to do your homework. This is my general principle of meetings. No meeting agenda, no meetings. If I ask you to send me certain documents before we meet, then I will wait until I receive the required documents and then schedule a meeting with you. Because with the documents, I can also do the preparation to make our meeting more constructive. Here I ask you to write down the questions you'd like to discuss in our office hours or in the meeting. Those will be considered as the meeting agenda. And you have to demonstrate that you've already made your effort trying to make sense of them, and you're still grappling with those issues. The evidence of prior effort could be a drafted theoretical framework or diagram, annotated notes from the readings with highlighted points of confusion, a short paragraph, a handful sentence describing where you are start. What not to expect is to ask, what theory should I use, without proposing your own ideas, and request a list of relevant articles without doing your own literature search, and say, I don't know where to start, without describing what you've already explored, what options you've ruled out and why, and what specifically is blocking your progress. And also, don't expect my feedback on very vague ideas or just your unformulated hunches with no prior framing or supporting evidence. And don't ask, can we brainstorm together, or can you be my thought partner on this, without first doing the intellectual groundwork. I provide feedback to your work, but I cannot think for you. And that is your own intellectual process and effort. All right, that's the walkthrough of the course. You should be able to navigate our Canvas course easily. I'll see you in the class.